All right, let's let's try this again. So what had happened was, so I have two stories now. This is that fast. I got two stories. I'll start with the one that just happened. I just streamed for like 45 minutes, and I didn't notice that my stream settings were set to private. So that was interesting. I got a little bit of work done, so nothing happened too crazy off screen. All we did was get both pages in here from where we last left off and clean them. And we haven't put any tone or values down yet. So that's good. The funny other story is that I deleted all my data from all the previous pages, and over the weekend I had to redo all the details. So every page I kind of just went through and just redid, retoned, revalued, recleaned every page all the way up to where we are today. And I'm very happy that my process allows me to be able to do that enough and that I have a certain amount of experience because it would have been difficult. But it wasn't. So here's what I'm going to do. Since we're just starting again and I know my link worked finally, my link works finally, go ahead and, right, I was supposed to grab the value thing. Did I grab it? No, I didn't. Okay, let me go ahead and get that now. All right, go to this page. I think it's in this page as well. Okay, it's not. I think that's because I stopped using the little value thing I was using because I found out where the Clip Studio keeps the where it keeps the value history, essentially, like your color history of what all the things you're picking. And I was like, okay, well, since I'm only using these three values anyway, I don't really need to pull this thing over to every single page like I've been doing. So that's cool. Go ahead and paste that in. All right, so we're gonna start just by doing the whole eyedropper and the magic wand tool, and just gonna go ahead and start filling that stuff in. And I'm on this layer right now, so I'm gonna go back to this layer here. All of my character art and stuff like that gets filled in on red layers, and my line work is blue layers, backgrounds are green so far. Alright, so we got that part, got that other foot there. Go ahead and get this guy's hair. And we're not going to get all of it, but you know, it's essentially just starting off with a really big brush, doing broad strokes essentially. It's funny, now that I'm actually streaming, I feel a little bit more, I don't know, like everything makes more sense. But yeah, I hope everyone's day has been pretty decent. I've been trying my best to just, I don't know, enjoy the day and also get ready for things in the future. I feel like once you get used to your own process, you find that it is a consistent balance of a few things, right? You have a balance of efficiency, and there's multiple types of efficiency. There is doing something the fastest, easiest, best way to do it, the most non-hassle way. Um, and there is also getting it done the best way for you, as in the one that makes you feel good. Um, there's also this thing called morale, and the more you do taxing, difficult things that you don't find that enjoyable, the more they weigh on your morale. Makes it harder for you to continue with the same level of energy. You know, everything takes energy, but also some things give you energy. And when it comes to your workflow, you got to figure out how to balance all those things to figure out what's the best way that you work for yourself. And it's a constant thought process, I would say. If you stop, you end up just saying, okay, the process you have works perfectly, and you don't need to change it at all. And if that's the case, that's awesome because you've optimized the crap out of your process and you know how you work well, along with the quote unquote industry standard levels of or whatever. And that's also really good. Um, I remember when I was, uh, well, I would say about 4 or 5 years ago when I was working on this stuff, and I had ended up using way too many values. I think it was because I didn't feel like I was good enough at art, drawing in particular, to like lean on it only with line work. I always felt like my line work was lacking in that department, definitely with backgrounds. And for some reason, after learning a bunch about value, I thought, okay, well, what I'll do since I know that like human eye sees value before everything else, or sees more value than anything else, I would say, that I was going to rely on value and have it work in tandem with my line art. And I basically ended up overusing it. I would say I overused it, you know, because what I figured was, well, what it felt like over time was that I was doing a mini value painting or something, even though I wasn't even that good at value paintings yet. But now I'm a lot more, what is it called? A lot more confident in my work, and I know that I have options. I don't need to lean solely on, I need to lean solely on values anymore. I can definitely just put things up as line work. Let me go ahead and select some of this stuff and make sure it's not even on here. So I see I left some of the lines open here. It's not a big deal though. I just see it. I'm like, okay, I see what I was doing there. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get a pen or a pencil. G pen's good. But yeah, usually what I do is I ended up on weekends I usually end up just kind of checking all my social media stuff and seeing what people are enjoying and things of that nature. Definitely when it comes to YouTube, I'm always like, okay, how can I improve my stream for better, like for better viewership and stuff like that? How to make it better and enjoyable for other people to check out. So I'm kind of gathering ideas, checking out how it did, how the stream did overall in about a week's time, seeing if I can come up with any ideas to make it a better experience overall for people to check out. This weekend, my daughter wanted to learn about streaming, so I was teaching her about streaming. She did a little practice stream, and we set that to private, so she wouldn't have to worry about like people coming in and you know asking her questions or something like that. So she could just learn about what it would be like uh, without a bunch of people talking to her. I guess not her idea, but you know, and basically that's the reason why. Oh, that on top of the fact that I ended up deleting my data that same night. Like, I was like, oh no, like, my data is gone. Clip Studio is acting like it doesn't know me anymore. I was like, man, what am I gonna do? But honestly, once I realized what had happened and I knew it was possible that I could have kind of screwed myself out of like having all my page information, I've kind of gone through a certain amount already when it comes to like comics and stuff. So I was just like, all right, the only thing I need to know is if it's really gone. If it's really gone, cool. I'll just redo everything. Not a big deal. Done it before, I can do it again. I know I can do it better if I want to. So as soon as I found out it was like actually gone, the first thing I actually did was take steps to make sure it didn't really happen again. So that was the first thing I did. I went ahead and tried to organize some files better, deleted a bunch of things I didn't need on the computer, which it wasn't much. I actually found out that I had an extra hard drive of space, so that was actually funny. Um, so I didn't know anything about it, so I learned a bit. And usually I save everything to my external hard drive. So I had to make some changes to make sure that later in life I won't be possibly deleting anything important like that. And yeah, after that, I set up the files for the comic and went ahead and went at it again. It only took about a day. like that. Oh, thank you, Riskro. Thank you. Actually forgot to fill that in completely there. Are you telling me there's a hole in the line art somewhere? Oh no, it's just okay, it's just saving. Ah, okay, I also see the face sticking out there. Go ahead and expand selection. Is there any other part that I need to do that with him? No, not really. Well, the hair. Here. And I'm not going to get the hair over there. Go ahead and expand selection. Alright, now we just go in there with the pen. Where was I going with that conversation about workflow? Some things in your workflow you have to get used to before you can really optimize it. So essentially a workflow, hey, how's it going, Tavon? Essentially a workflow, you have to essentially use it before you can know what you need to improve it. Like if you're drawing a lot of comic pages, you would never know that, let's say, it takes you about a full day of drawing comic pages before you're like, I want to start inking comic pages, because after about a whole day of working on them, you get tired. And if you had to draw for 2 straight days before you started inking, that would actually make you tired. But only you can know what that's like. You're you. Only you can know like how your process is supposed to work and how you best work. So you have to actually start at comics, start actually drawing them, figure out what your process is. If you want to be a penciler, all right, cool. You only have to really worry about penciling a comic. But also, there's other little aspects to penciling. You know, you got your thumbnailing, you got your thumbnailing, got your rough drafts, and then you got your actual finished pencils. You know, you also have to be good at leaving space for word bubbles. You have to always know that, you know, if someone hands you a script, you have to know where the word bubbles are going to go. You can't get too overzealous with how you do your spacing. You have to always be mindful that a crap ton of dialogue could be on this page and you have to leave space for it. Even though you might want to go all in and make some crazy dope, you know, piece of artwork. It's more about the storytelling. So there's aspects to everything to get used to. Depends on how much you want to do yourself also. But yeah, if you have let's see, thumbnailing, you have your, let's just say, thumbnailing, you have your rough drafts, and you have, let's say, line art, right? You got your line art. Then you go ahead and you work on that. Then it's like, okay, how much of that can you do in like a day, right? Some people, they switch it out. They can do, like, I can probably, I think my threshold is something like I can draw I can work on about 2 to 4 pages in a day, maybe even 5. but I'm not going to be inking all those pages in a day. I might attempt one of those pages that day and start it, or I may even finish it if I drew like 4. I might ink it and then come back to it the next day. But inking is it's an interesting process for me, and it's mainly because ink. Why did I do that? I could have just filled the whole area. Ink is like it has to dry, and you have to usually like real ink. It has to dry. You have to work around it. You got to spin the page to hopefully not smear it. You know, um, so it's a little bit different for me than like penciling. Penciling is similar, but if you know you're gonna be inking over top of your pencils, you can be a little bit less safe with it, just a little bit. Yeah, pencils can smear and stuff like that, but also if you're doing that yourself, you don't have to worry so much because you're inking yourself. So you usually don't have to be as detailed when you're inking over your own work. You don't have to, but if you choose to, that could be something you want to do. Because obviously, the neater your work is, the less possibility that you'll be confused when you see a shape or a line. Another aspect that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about is taking a part of that process once you get used to it and going, okay, how can I make this fun? Not just how can I make this the easiest possible thing to do. If I wanted to like completely optimize my process, I would probably go all digital, right? Because that's the easiest way to optimize everything, right? You just make it all digital, do it all on the computer. But if you don't work well on the computer, it would take you time to learn how to do it well. So you'd still have to sink some hours into it, a lot of hours into making sure your artwork looks the way you want it to look. And it might take an even longer amount of time to wrap your head around. I think, what is his name? The guy who works on Berserk. A lot of people was talking about how his artwork changed because he went all digital. And of course it would, right? It's not, even if he's a master artist, master illustrator, he's really good at what he does. Um, it's still the computer, Talking about a guy who's mastered his technique traditionally, I would say. Having to pull all that over. Oh, hey, Kai. Yeah, things are going okay. Imagine having to pull all that over and like be like, okay, now I have to make this digital. Now you got to get used to all the digital tools, all the shortcuts, all the shortcomings too. Uh, it happens. But yeah, right. Let's say you do that. So that takes a hit of morale. Even if you get faster, morality wise, you have to learn a new tool. And to some people, that could be cumbersome. That could be difficult to deal with. The other thing you have to do. Oh, hey, Adele. Funny. The other thing you have to do is you have to figure out how to make stuff fun, right? Figuring out how to make stuff fun is taking something you don't like doing, but it's an essential part of your process. And you talk to yourself like, all right, how can I make this joint fun for me? How can I not lose any mental, emotional energy while I'm working on this part of this process? And the thing about that is, it has nothing to do with optimization completely. Like uh, like it could have something to do with optimization, but it's not purely optimization. I was watching a Manben documentary. I forget the guy's name, honestly, but he was speaking about how he just kind of makes a lot of the process for himself very fun. And with the technique that he created to make it fun, he was able to tone like 30 pages in a sitting. You just sit there and just do it. And how was he able to do it? He uses He uses diluted ink. He puts a page he's working on inside of like a paper plastic joint, like like the ones you see in like notebooks with the holes for the rings. Puts the paper in there. He prints out his I think he takes his rough draft, puts it in that paper, and then he takes another sheet and puts it on top of that so that like the water doesn't affect the paper. And he essentially he just watercolors. It looks like watercolor, right? But he just spreads the ink over top of the page so it's translucent. And then once it's dry, he just scans all that in. But he can do that so quickly. He can do it on regular size paper, do it very quickly across the whole entire thing. And all he does is adjust it when he gets it on the computer. He just scans it in, plays with it, and manipulates it. And see, I said plays with it because that's basically what he's doing. He has something to work with. He can manipulate it and play with it a bit, and because of that, it's fun. So, oh, and he can, and it's optimized a bit because he's not losing time over it. He's actually doing it very quickly. The only thing he has to worry about after that is scanning it. But the thing about it is, right? Imagine having to scan something that you hardly have to manipulate. Everything I scan, I have to manipulate. I have to take it through a process. I have to open it up and do this and do that. And see, the real time saver is when that process is short. When you can take the editing stage and cut that down in time, that's when you can really start to move a lot quicker digitally. Digital tools for me still aren't as intuitive. The more I do on it, the better I'll get, the faster I'll get on it. But it's not like something you used to traditionally, comparatively. So I could see why pulling out a paintbrush and using that on like some small copy paper size stuff, like some computers, right? You get a big brush, you make it really big, you want to cover a large area, and you want to have texture. Program will slow down. In real life, that doesn't happen. It's just like, oh, you want me to go here? You want me to go there? All right, cool. All you gotta do is like take care of your brush if you want to have a really good brush. And no matter how expensive brushes is, they cost a lot less than some art programs and some art tools, like digital ones. So that's pretty cool. If you could do 30 pages, if you could, that's like a chapter in a day. Like if you're doing a decent amount of pages, you're over there like, okay, I'm gonna like get ready to add all the values or all the tones to my pages. You could sit there and do 30. Hitting deadlines would be pretty easy. I would also say like the thing I like to focus on when it comes to like my own art style and like the things I'm up to with like what I'm working on. I kind of think of like how if I can make my artwork simplistic enough but also have enough detail, I can do a lot of ideation, which means that I can work through a bunch of ideas to get the best layout possible. If I can get the best layout possible, then I can help people read my stuff a lot easier. So there's less possibility of being confused when you read my comics. And if my comics are easier to read, then more people will probably finish them. Um, I don't mean like too simple, but like when I want to do something dynamic, I want it to read well. I want you to be able to read that well. And if you can't, then I didn't do such a good job. Um, and even when I quote unquote don't do a good job, I still always set myself up to make it that way, to make it possible, because it's like a main thing in my process. I'm not just going, how do I make these characters look cool and how do I write this story or something. Like one of the biggest things again is not just the story, but how things flow from one panel to the next and how that goes into one page and into the other page. But by having easy to uh, create these ideas with like simpler shapes, like not like in Dragon Ball not Dragon Ball Z, even though, you know, I get it. I get it, Adele. I know. Same series, right? Same series. But in Dragon Ball, these characters had pretty simple shapes. Toriyama, if you know anything about his story before he got published, was always trying his best, and he created supposedly 500 one-shots, something crazy like that. Person who's created 500 one-shots definitely understands the importance of being able to create a lot of different thumbnails as quickly as possible to get that stuff across, you know, the best way possible. And if that's the case, you can see the benefits of having a more simplistic design. If you could sketch out your characters without adding any details and just go, okay, here's my character, you know, here's my character, and here's their hair, you know, and this is, are you saving right now, Clip Studio? All right, we're saving. You know, here's their sash, you know, here's your arm, here's the other arm, here's, you know, foot. You know, you can take this type of shape and do enough with it to organize compositions, to set up page layouts and everything like that. And if they work well, boom, you get to hurry up and go ahead and draw the more detailed form of that. But it's still not as detailed as some other manga artists have their stuff. So you don't have to lose sleep over that. And it works very well if you're working on a week-to-week basis, right? Because the simpler your stuff is to draw and finish with a smaller amount of detail, the easier it'll be when you get those crazy deadlines where, let's say, the company you work for didn't like the storyboards you came up with for the chapter. They wanted you to push it a little bit. So instead of getting too completely stressed out, you're like, okay, I'll redo it 7 times. And then after that, you go ahead and get the approval to do it, and you had maybe 2 to 3 days left. So now you got to pull an all-nighter and get all this work done. But again, if your characters are more simple to draw, even if you're a great illustrator, those deadlines don't care. They want you to churn out, you know, what it's known for you to churn out, detail-wise, in the allotted time. Something that really boggled my mind when I read about it was Akira was drawn on a week-to-week basis. Akira is not a simple-looking manga, and supposedly, I think Otomo only had 1 or 2 assistants, and he only hired them like 1 or 2 days out of the week near the deadline, which means that everything you saw in there, he probably sketched out and drew himself, and then he got them in there to probably ink it or something like that. And he only got even better after the movie, because I believe he only had 1 or 2 volumes out by the time they wanted to make an Akira movie. And then he came back from that, and he worked on volumes 3, 4, 5, and 6. Why that is significant is he worked on that movie, and he produced, I think it was over 400 pages of storyboards. I don't know what that's like. That's kind of like, it's kind of like, okay, we like your story concept, give us more. And you're like, okay, here's some more without spoiling my whole comic. So you're just going through all your ideas and giving some away to the film, you know. And then after doing all of that, you finally go, wait, I can make this even better than the film. I can actually save all these ideas for myself. His drawing ability skyrocketed, I assume. You know, he worked on that film for probably over a year. He produced all that work in that time. And he came back to the pages and like, I can do this, you know? And he did an even better job. I think what always caught me off guard with Akira is not necessarily how detailed the backgrounds were, even though that's definitely a thing that sticks out, but it was how many speed lines he would put on things, how many focus lines he would put on things. And I was like, he was doing this with a ruler? Like, they were doing this with rulers, no shortcuts. And you mean to tell me, I always like the first thing I always imagine is like, yo, imagine messing up on one of these lines. Like one of these lines wasn't thrown right on the ruler, and just being like, I have to redo the whole page because just one of these lines being off changes the whole effect. I don't know how good the whiteout was back then, but that's why I'm like, can't imagine working on Akira and messing up like one line. Definitely in the speed line stuff. On characters, I could see messing up on that. You know, characters are probably easier to fix. All right, we got that. This is looking okay. Gonna add a little bit of stuff here. Cool. Got that in there. Got that in there. Did I get the other one? Yes. All right. Got some stuff in there. Alright, so now I can go ahead and put some speed lines and things in there, same things of that nature in there. I also think I want to make one of these pages a bit bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the actual page and look at it real quick, see if I come up with any ideas. So I think I wanted to pull this page and make it a little bit bigger, so I'll pull it to the actual edge of the screen. Okay, yeah, so that was supposed to go all the way over, but I don't think I ever extended it like that, so that's odd. I should have. So we're going to go ahead and select each layer we need. Go ahead and use this rectangular selection tool. Go ahead and grab all of it. Go ahead and go to scale rotate, so I can now move the line artwork and also the values I just put down all at the same time, so we're not losing any of that work. And still having a hard time reaching, I see, that initial mark. Also, seems like I definitely wanted the that right there. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna draw the arm where it should have been. That's all I have to do. Draw the arm and extend this line over. It's not a big deal. So this is blue. This is the one we want. Let's go ahead and grab us a pen, and we're gonna get a circular pen, I believe. This one is fine. Try and make it as small as this here. That's about it. That's about it. Better. Go ahead and click black. And click here. Actually, I'm going to start from all the way back here. And then I'm going to hold shift, try to extend it outward. I'm going to just go this far. Looks a bit crooked. Undo, which I don't remember what it was on my keyboard thingy. Do it again. Looks okay. Yeah, I don't know if I like that completely. Let's try it again. Oh wait, another thing is they have a line tool. Alright. Let's go ahead and go over to those line tools real quick. Direct line, already there. Straight line. Is that 15? Just extend it like that. It's not as thick as I need it to be for this. So we're gonna put it up to like 20. Looks off. Okay, it's fine. There we go. Cool. Now we extended that all the way over. I'm going to go ahead and do the same here. Alright, got that there. Now I need to use the G pen here. We're gonna make this here. Got that. And the arm that is here. Sure, right? It's gonna be cut off there. Okay. So what I'm going to use is a horizontal. I'm going to use some horizontal lines in this third panel here. 1, 2, 3. And through that, I'm going to have his arm kind of cutting through uh, essentially what that looks like. And the reason is, at first, I was thinking, oh, I could, it's the right layer. Wrong layer. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Multiply. Okay. So I was thinking was I could go ahead and I was going to use parallel lines that were going like this, right? Because his arm is kind of going that direction here, right? But instead, I think that that's a little bit hard to read or it gets confusing. So instead, what I'm going to use are horizontal lines going across. Why? Is because if my, I really should have done this in color, huh? If my line flow if the flow from panel to panel is essentially going it's going from like here to here, then it's going downward like that. But his eyes are also looking this direction. We also follow this right here. Eventually, we're gonna make it down to here, right? Gonna make it down to here. Takes us out. Then we make it back up there, right? But if I did the diagonal line like this, it's possible, right? It's possible that you would go from here right down because there's so many things forcing you down. There is all these lines telling you, hey, come here, come down here, come down here. You know, his arm is doing that already. Even though he's looking across, there's so much weight to these lines, you would just probably, you know, you would see this maybe, but it's possible that some people could think that panel 1 is first, and then it's not even think panel 1 is first, right? You know, everyone knows how to read a comic, right? You know that usually the thing next to the other thing goes next, you know, and the thing that's below those things goes after the things next to it, right? But if you set up the images in such a way, you can end up making it out of order for anybody who, you know, you've made the images too powerful. You know, you've made too many things on that page that tells that person to do something different. Instead of going across, you end up going down, and you're like, wait, I read that out of order. And it's not the person's fault. It's, you know, it's the person who was working on the comics' fault. I feel like its face is too expressionless. I changed it there. Thought that was a thing. He usually has that slightly stoic appearance. He's not trying that hard. He's trying a bit. If he was actually trying a lot harder, he would have hit him. There's no, there's, there's no way. If he was actually trying very hard, he would have actually hit him. But you know what? To that point, right? To that point, let's actually, because you have a good point. I'm always thinking about a way to put more expression on certain things where it needs to be. The next page over, the next page after this one. Oh, I didn't even put those in there. I think he has a little bit more expression on his face just because he knows that Halo is a little off guard, and he's going to take advantage of that. And once he gets, you know, once he gets what he wants, he's like, all right, cool. Proved that I could do that to myself. But you may be right. I tried to show a change in his expression kind of over here, you know. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna be looking through that. Thank you though. I'm gonna be definitely looking through that, making sure, checking everybody's facial expressions a little bit later. So, what I need to do is create a little artificial border, which I could do with this. Let's turn this red. Put it up here. Of course, need to turn that gray. Okay, stomach. We gonna eat eventually. Wait a minute, did I just do that with a... It doesn't matter. Alright, cool. Artificial border created. we kind of have a top and a bottom that go from, just go ahead and grab this. Cool. So all I need to do is make sure that I grab everything here. So I'm going to do, I have ideas. Okay, so it already creates that. That's pretty good to know. Alright, let's get over here. Okay, gotta create one here. Oh, okay, well I just won't touch that then. Or I could just go ahead and invert the selection and draw it now. Cool, worked. Alright, and here. Okay, cool. Go ahead and invert back. Alright, got those right there. Gonna go ahead and get this one here. And always have to check these really small crevices. I always end up missing them and having to go back or something. Alright, we can fill that area and check. Alright, so again, there's some of the small areas we missed. In between the hairs. Okay, I think I got that. I'm just basically creating a selection area for the stuff I'm going to put there. Nothing too major. Grab the lasso tool, make sure it's on add, and just go ahead and lasso the areas I'm going to add to this. Alright, I think we're about there. Yeah. Alright, so what I want to do is take this whole area, go ahead and create a selection area out of everything. But before I do that, well actually yeah, exactly. Create the selection. Go ahead and expand the selection a bit. since sometimes the fill tool misses things by a few pixels. Go ahead and fill it again with a little bit extra pixels on top of everything. Alright, so now what I can do is literally go to a whole new layer, turn that one off. And now I'm going to go get this cool pin that I have. Well, I think it's cool. Where's this thing? Go ahead and go ahead and do this. Hold shift. No, click shift. No, I forget how this works exactly. But I thought there was a way you could do this without worrying about if it was straight or not. But alright. No, I can't do that. Oh, can you just hold it and then move it across? I think that was how it was supposed to be done, or how it was. Okay, well, it's here. Cool, right? So now we kind of have some speed line stuff going on here. And everything's kind of where we need it to be. And it doesn't steal too much attention away from everything, so that's great. We already have this effect with his arm going through it. So that's pretty cool. If we want a value, we already have one as well. But I don't think I'm going to use that. And of course I notice, oh wait, no, I got it. Hey, thought I missed that for a second. So I'm just leave that alone. Let's go over here. I know exactly what I want to do with this. I'm going to add some shadows on the characters and on the ground, but I'm also going to have another special background where it's going to be these curved lines coming from essentially the foot area up and around to where his other foot is, kind of forcing that feeling of a gesture that I have going on there, that curved expression. So see here. Let's go to the next one. This is again that, yep. Right, this is the background, so we're going to make it green. So again, we're going to make a new little border thing, which since most of this can fit in this area, let me turn this off. Most of this can fit in this area, I'm just going to make it a square. Before I knew about this tool, before I knew about a tool that can make panel borders, I was doing this. I would be like, alright, let's go ahead and create a selection, so it's square, and I would go ahead and scroll down here on edit, and I would find the one that says outline selection, and then you get these options and stuff like that, and then just go ahead and click OK, and it would essentially give you a border. But of course, I'm on a grayscale layer. I think that the border should be there. Yeah, it should be gray. Yep, and it's on normal. The good thing is, it doesn't matter. We're just going to go ahead and fill this area. Now we have this border here. Don't have to worry about anything leaking out. Thank goodness that filled into there. Let's go ahead and get in between the hair. Little crevices like this one and this one. Nice. Okay. And I see that there's a little opening there that I'm going to have to fill. Go ahead and grab the lasso tool and just add to this. Okay. I think that's about all of it there. So we have a new selection to make. Go ahead and expand. Alright. It's not bad. Now that we have that, just looking it over real quick. I'm actually going to go ahead and fill in these other parts. Go ahead and change this color. It's starting to become a little bit, yeah. So I'm sure it looks a little bit harder for you guys to see. So if I do that, you should be able to see it a little bit better. Okay, now that I have that, I can go ahead and start the other effect. Just using this stuff for selections. Okay. So what I usually would do, is my selection gone, let me reselect. What I usually would do is just fill this area a certain way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this filter or this gradation tool, and what I want to do is, let me see here, what is this? Oh, wrong thing on. That's cool and all, but nope, that's not what we want, even though it looks cool. Let's see, it's black to white here. Yes, alright. I like that. I'll definitely play around with that a bit. What I'm going to do with it, let me see. I'm going to grab this here pen, not that, this one. Let's see what this looks like real quick, because I'm sure this thing, what I remember, it kind of looks like multiple lines either way, like together. So I don't like that completely. So we're not going to use that. Seems to be like my favorite pen right now. Yep. So I'm going to make it bigger. I like it. His shoe needs grooves. This shoe? They're just, the grooves are kind of there. I think some of that was erased in the scan, but it's a little light because it's moving quickly. Yeah, it's a little light because it was, you know. Wait, why isn't this working? He's telling me it's not dark enough. Oh, it's not a part of the selection. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's there. I think it might be a little hard for you to see. But if I get close enough to the monitor, like if I zoom in like this, maybe you'll be able to see it. Like it's there. It's just it's very light. I'm gonna invert the selection, then I can touch it. Yeah, there we go. It needs a real pattern? Why so? Ah, why so though? Why does it need it? Let's see here. This is this. My dog is barking. And the only thing I think about when the dog is barking at this point is there could be someone at the door or near the door, which is usually the case. But right now I'm waiting on a package. That's a book. And I'm like, man, it would be crazy if my book showed up right now. And of course, I'm like, of course not. For realism, mm, mm, I guess so. I guess that makes sense. I understand what you mean. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. How did I do that? Alright, we're gonna have to fix that. Let me see, can I draw there now? Yes, I can. Alright. Let's go ahead and grab this joint and see if we can put it right in there. So, let me grab this. And I think it will be around this area, right? Around here. Go back to this. Oh crap, no. Wait. Oh, I can just undo that. Hard eraser. Cool. But yeah, as far as realism goes, I don't know if I'm particularly chasing realism like that yet. Um, but I do understand because I technically am adding in little things here and there, like even shoe patterns and stuff like that. I recently had done a commission where for some reason I thought it was a really cool idea to add in a really detailed shoe thing. But I also feel like you know, it's hmm. I love having arguments with myself. It's the funnest thing ever. It's like, you know what? He has a point. And then the other part of me like, no, we don't, such and such, we don't got to do that. And then the other part of me is like, yo, but isn't this part in the story like this thing? And I'm like, oh yeah, oh yeah, it does exist, doesn't it? So it's always fun. But yeah, I probably end up getting more detailed with certain aspects, like you were talking about, because obviously if he's wearing a tennis shoe, it could make sense to have that type of element to it. I just need to put in the effort to do it. So yeah. Now, did I erase that properly? I feel like I'm too close to tell. Alright, that looks fine. I don't think you could tell that I just had that in there too much. I can tell. I can tell. Alright, so I feel like that already works well, except it's too dark. So let me go ahead and make it not so dark. C85. That is fine. Do I have to add here to these shadows here that I put on the ground? Because that means I have to make them even darker. So how about 80, right? Let's go to 80. Maybe, okay, that's fine. Now we can see. Let's see. Can I touch anything outside of here? No, everything is inside. Wait, that's the eraser. But that still would show what I'm talking about. Just gonna invert that there. Now I can touch here. Cool. Right here. And of course that's a little weird. Oh, it's because I have it on 80. Shouldn't make a difference. Okay, I'll take it. being a little less cautious at this point because this is probably one of my funnest tools. It's one of the funner tools that I get to use, so I can kind of have fun with it. And I'm also still not going that far with it at the same time. I used to have a really crazy process for trying to get like really nice looking shadows, and I still think it's good. I just think for the amount of work that was, I should only do it for certain special pages, i.e. cover images or very, very important moments in the comic. So I kind of pulled back on that level a little bit. Alright, the only thing I'm missing here is a little bit darker here. Take that off. Okay. And now I can go ahead and let me see here. Can I grab the lighter value here? Yes. I'm gonna go ahead and do this, kind of showing that the leg going past his head is also casting a shadow right there. It's probably not that that dark. Alright, I like that. Looking pretty cool. Still have a little bit of a problem with how dark it looks. But I also like the light levels. So I'm gonna probably play around with, wait, what am I changing here? Of course, not the thing I'm looking for. It's already on 80, right? I could turn it to like 60. That looks kind of okay. 65? That looks okay. Then, okay, I would have to turn it a bit darker. That way you'd be able to, you have to, it's either going to be lighter or it's going to have to be darker. If it is darker, it works just fine actually. So I think I'll keep it that way for now. I'm missing some stuff here. Let's go to that layer. I'm going to go ahead and click that value. I'm going to click a flat pen. Go ahead and add that in there. And I see this guy's ear. I need to go ahead and clean that. Alright, cool. So yeah, it's 11:15. think I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to end the stream. I said, unfortunately, I started the stream privately, and I was streaming for like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. I didn't realize that my link didn't work. I thought maybe something was wrong with my Discord or something like that. Because when I posted the link, you know, it was like, still love the way these panels look here. But when I posted the link, no image came up, no thumbnail came up. And I was like, that's odd. I guess Discord's handling the link weirdly or whatever. But in actuality, it was just set to private because I was helping my daughter out with her first streaming experience. We set that to private, and I didn't change it and realized I didn't change it when I started the stream. So I should have checked. But I will be doing that more and more often and stuff like that. But yeah, we made it all the way over here finally to page 14 and 15. And yeah, we'll be making more progress going on this week. And honestly, we should be finishing working through the pages this week if I keep the pace that I'm going on now. So that'll be dope. So yeah, if you guys are liking the content, make sure to subscribe. I'll be continuously putting up videos, usually around 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And I have a playlist with all of the newer videos in there. So it's about almost around 30 or more actually, of these videos working through this chapter. So it's a lot of good insight if you guys aren't familiar with working on comics and things of that nature. And even if you are, it's good background noise because I'm usually pretty quiet working on things. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 9 p.m. You guys get some rest. Peace.